Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. Luo Feng opened his eyes. Tian Chen Emperor and Ji Hong Emperor screamed, "Master! Master, are you going to become undying?" Tian Chen Emperor asked. Luo Feng waved his hands. "Get out." "Yes, Master." Tian Chen Emperor and Ji Hong Emperor were a bit confused. They hadn't expected Luo Feng to fail at becoming undying. After all, in their eyes, it would be the biggest joke in the history of the universe if even Luo Feng couldn't become undying. Alone in the silent palace, Luo Feng walked up the stairs of the side palace to the top floor. He leaned against the handrail and looked at the Thousand Treasures River. "I've never given up," said Luo Feng. "Not since the first day I stepped outside my home city on earth." His eyes gleamed. "Even if the shackles on my core are outstandingly powerful, that won't stop me from becoming undying. Treasures won't help me break the shackles," thought Luo Feng. "I need to rely on my law comprehension, techniques, spiritual force amplification, and willpower. It's difficult to improve my willpower in the short term. Same with my spiritual force amplification. As for my beast god conception and law comprehension, they're already the best among anyone beneath the level of Universe Knight. Only secret techniques can help me advance sharply," he realized. Luo Feng thought about this. Among the heirs on Bohinia Island, there are heirs who eventually created ultimate techniques after devoting time to their techniques. For instance, my teacher Tru Yang Knight spent hundreds of millions of years studying his talent technique, and it's now almost at the ultimate level. Tru Yang Knight didn't even have the advantages Luo Feng had. After all, he didn't have the instructions of Primal Chaos City Leader. I can accomplish what they accomplished. I'll create my ultimate techniques. And they will improve my power dozens of times. I don't believe I won't be able to make it." Luo Feng pursed his lips, and his eyes glinted fiercely. "And if I still can't do it, I'll sharpen my willpower and improve my beast god conception. No matter what. I'll only accept success. No failure allowed." Luo Feng tightened his grip on the handrail, so hard that it bent beneath his fingers. He turned around and went back into his palace while the handrail gradually recovered. There was memory metal inside the handrail. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Though Luo Feng would spend time with his family and learn about how his family had prospered, most of his mind was devoted to studying the talent technique even when he was with his family. This time, Luo Feng didn't study into the blade technique. Instead, he concentrated on star map. 100 years passed. 200 years. 900 years, 1,000 years. Time flew. After 3,000 years, inside the training field of the virtual universe. "Fall," said Luo Feng. He stood at the apex of the remains, pointing at a distant rock life form. 1,600 crystal balls were connected, forming the tail of a beast god. Countless law threads became entangled and formed a beast god. The tail was surreally tangible, while the other parts of the body appeared blurry and indistinct. Howl. After a growl, the beast god rushed at the rock life. Superheated fire burst out of the rock life, but a phantom of countless raindrops was waiting for him. The beast god moved swiftly. His tail moved 100 times faster than his body. His tail left a blur behind it like raindrops, filling the space and time around him. The raindrops appeared harmless, but the rock life form roared with anger and fear as the illuminated raindrops penetrated every inch of its body. The rock life trembled and was annihilated. "Hit the light racing star," thought Luo Feng. The starlight spread all over the universe. "The first move is completed." Luo Feng nodded. "Luo Feng," said a voice. A shadow in a golden cape appeared, flying toward him from afar. It was Primal Chaos City Leader. "Teacher." Luo Feng saluted him. Primal Chaos City Leader looked a little confused. "For the past 3,000 years, you've been studying the first move of your star map, and now, you finally made the first move ultimate technique level. But why did you spend so much time creating techniques? You could have made your breakthrough and become undying already. I'm not powerful enough, Luo Feng said respectfully. Primal Chaos City leader shook his head and smiled, thinking Luo Feng was being too modest. You're full of humility, he said. Tell me, when do you want to become undying? After making my first 3 moves ultimate level, Luo Feng answered. The first 3 moves. Primal Chaos City leader was startled. It was very challenging to create ultimate techniques. Otherwise, more individuals would have come up with them. Few had achieved this even on Bohinia Island, where hundreds of millions of peerless talents lived. The first move was based on the first-level beast god inheritance, and it was self-explanatory. The second move was based on the second-level beast god inheritance, and was far more difficult. As for the third move, it was exceedingly strenuous. Luo Feng was creating these ultimate techniques from an advantageous position. His horizons were broad, and his lore comprehension was deep. Together with step-by-step instructions from Primal Chaos City leader, he could create the first ultimate technique in 3,000 years. How long will it take? Primal Chaos City leader asked. As long as is required, Luo Feng answered respectfully. Primal Chaos City leader was a bit surprised. From his perspective, Luo Feng's fame only would make him hurry to become undying. Okay, Primal Chaos City leader said. I'm in no rush. Sector lords and the land of origin in the universe have clearer connections, and you're more suitable to create appropriate techniques at this level. However, even if I'm instructing you and setting competitors for you, you'll soon realize that you're incapable of defending yourself against those competitors. It'll be up to you to decide how to make the breakthrough. I know, Luo Feng said deferentially. Teacher, I shall appreciate your instruction forever. Then suit yourself, said Primal Chaos City leader, and he stopped advising him on the matter. As a supreme being who had lived practically as long as the human race, Primal Chaos City leader understood the virtues of patience. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Luo Feng went back to study the second move, which was apparently much more difficult than the first one. Fortunately, Luo Feng was accomplished in more than enough on lore comprehension. He spent 8,000 years conquering all the obstacles gradually, and finally made the second move ultimate level. Yah! A special life form with scales on its wings screamed, and its voice pierced through Luo Feng's ears. Luo Feng stayed still, unaffected by it. The 2000th competitor, he said. This is the day for you to fall. Luo Feng controlled the gigantic beast god in the sky. 5,200 crystal balls were still on his tail, yet the entire beast god was distinct now. The towering beast god was 1,800 miles long. The flying special life form flew like a beam of black light. All the stars and planets touched by the black light were annihilated, yet the beast god remained floating in the sky. The 2 special life forms were about to crash. Luo Feng's eyes glinted ferociously. He had already been defeated by this competitor more than 900 times. Kill, he commanded. The beast god's tail finally started to move. It became a beam of shining red light, like a star about to be annihilated. The red light flitted silently past that charging black light, and the black light vanished. A huge crack showed up in the sky, and an enormous shockwave shook the surroundings. The sound wave couldn't stop. Splendid like stars, Luo Feng murmured. The red light rips the nightfall like a blade. The second move is finished. Asterisk 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 asterisk. The first move of the ultimate technique known as Star Map was finished after 3,000 years. The second move took 8,000 years. Luo Feng then started to study the third move. He had been able to finish creating the first 2 moves thanks to the competitors Primal Chaos City leader provided. Those competitors were designed to reveal the disadvantages of Luo Feng's secret techniques. Other than the competitors, Luo Feng had already completed the third-level beast god inheritance, and together with the help of Golden Hornet beast body and Mosha body, it wasn't a huge burden for him to create the first 2 ultimate techniques. Mosha body's space comprehension, could help him merge with space completely. Golden Horned Beast had merged with numerous blood river crystals, and had ample inspiration when looking at the beast god sculpture. However, Luo Feng ran into trouble when creating the third move. His law comprehension and beast god conception were not inadequate for creating the third move for the ultimate technique. He beat one competitor after another and kept deducing and empowering the third move. It took him 20,000 years to beat the 1,520th competitor, and the following competitors would only get stronger and stronger. It seemed that it would take him hundreds of thousands of years, maybe even 1,000,000 years to create the third move. Inside the core, the form of Luo Feng that had transformed from the origin pearl was casting the second move of the ultimate technique. He tried to cast the unfinished third move to attack the inner wall of the core. "Break," he roared. "Break. Now." The inner wall trembled and shattered, yet that blurry steam stayed intact. "I still haven't succeeded," said Luo Feng. "Will I really have to spend 1,000,000 years creating the third move?" Luo Feng grew nervous. For the past 30,000 years, he had remained in seclusion. This provoked rumors among the other races, even within the human race, as they all presumed that Blade River Emperor would become undying soon. Yet there had been no news. This Blade River Emperor, who had previously roamed the universe, seemed to have disappeared. "I've become so impatient," Luo Feng realized, finally coming to his senses. 30,000 years of meditation, combined with the rumors from the outside, had indeed affected him. "If I can't accomplish my goal now, I might as well get out and tour the universe a bit. I've been around for such a long time, but I haven't seen the universe yet. All I've done is fight." Luo Feng suddenly wanted nothing more than to take a tour of the universe. The timing was right. It was now or never. Luo Feng's Mosha body went to a remote territory of the universe through God Country transportation of his undying slaves. He then started to wander through the universe. The universe was resplendent and mysterious. Luo Feng saw a planet made up entirely of platinum. He witnessed a peculiar scene involving 108 associated stars and toured each one of them. He slept on a neutron star. He even discovered a valuable left by an undying fighter. Of course, he didn't care about it. He also tried to investigate a black hole, yet when he went too deep into it, he felt a tearing power so strong that even the undying Mosha body couldn't bear it. The space ripple was completely destroyed. Thus, he wasn't able to transport himself and flee. Fortunately, he escaped the core of the black hole with his domain talent technique. Sometimes, he would just lie on a meteorite and float through the universe. Luo Feng also went stealthily to the territories of other races, as Mosha body could replicate the shapes and auras of other races. Luo Feng passed by like a tourist, observing the environments and the emotions of the other races. These experiences, while wandering the universe, granted Luo Feng renewed inspiration. The past 30,000 years of meditation had barely improved his willpower, whereas wandering in the universe made his willpower evolve naturally. "In the past, all I knew was to fight, to kill and to become stronger," thought Luo Feng. "But there is so much beauty in the universe. The other races' cultures have their own unique charms, even if they are different from mine. These cultures have survived for eons. They all deserve appreciation. Each time I comprehend the culture of another race, it transforms my soul." Half of Luo Feng's mind was taking in the wonders of the universe, while the other half was practicing. This mental partition was actually much more efficient. In the past, he could only derive inspiration from looking at the beast god sculpture, but he now found that there were universe origin laws everywhere in the universe, like the birth, growth, and annihilation of a star. All the grasses, beasts, and rivers contained universe laws. The processes present in planetary environments were miniature versions of the processes of the universe as a whole. Sometimes, Luo Feng got so much inspiration that he made one breakthrough after another. Other times, he would constantly be defeated by the same competitor, but he chose to remain tranquil. After wandering in the universe for a long time, Luo Feng's state of mind gradually merged with the universe. Without even realizing it, his competitor would be defeated. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In a remote territory of the universe, on a life planet in the prison race territory, near the 6 pinnacle races. In the space surrounding the planet flew a 1,000-foot-long giant creature with 18 claws. He had scales all over his body, and his head appeared to be made of metal. There were golden flames in his eyes. This life planet was facing a catastrophe. Undying power spread and enveloped the planet. The entire planet was under his control. Ha ha, the creature roared. Creeping bugs. Bow to the great Shadow Emperor. From today on, this planet will belong to Shadow Emperor, and all you creeping, crawly bugs must answer to the great Shadow Emperor. If anyone dares to defy him, we will kill you. On the planet lived more than 10 different races and millions of creatures. The weakest of them were at the Star Traveler level. There were even dozens of sector lords. Shadow Emperor, they cried. Shadow Emperor has advanced his territory to our planet. And the leader of his army is the goddamn undying fighter known as U2OWA. Damn U2OWA. Luo Feng, watching from a distance, transformed his Mosha body into a sector lord of this race. Interesting, he said. He looked up and saw the undying fighter in outer space. The prison race is so unique. Instead of stopping their subsidiary races from killing each other, they intensified it, resulting in widespread slaughter. In the past 50,000 years of wandering in the universe, Luo Feng had visited the territories of the crystal race and the prison race to study them. The 6 pinnacle races in the universe lived around the center of the universe, while crystal race and prison race lived in remote areas. All the creatures born in the peculiar region known as prison would be considered members of the prison race. The seniors within the prison race had no limits to the subsidiary races. Under the rule of the prison race, one slaughter after another occurred within those subsidiary races. Some were totally annihilated. However, some great beings would be born in the midst of such massacres, and those great beings were admitted by the prison race. The crystal race behaved completely opposite to prison race. All the creatures within the crystal race were of the same clan, and they stuck together. The bond within crystal race was stronger even than the automaton race. Sometimes, some great beings within the crystal race would cooperate with each other, empowering them exponentially. The individuals within the prison race were strong while the crystal race as a whole was strong. They were 2 completely different races, which led to constant, ferocious conflicts. The human race, automaton race, demon race, and bug race fought each other because their territories were close, but the prison race and crystal race did so because of their innate hatred for each other. This planet was in chaos. Mosha Luo Feng watched everything happening in silence. He had already seen many planets around the prison race being conquered, and he always watched it like a bystander and left. All the creatures of Taiku race will be executed, the undying fighter known as U2OWA roared. His voice spread across the entire planet. Kill all the creature of Taiku race. Kill. The sector lord warriors under him started to roam the planet. There were more than 10 races on the planet, and Taiku race was only one of them. It was the only race that hadn't admitted defeat. A cry rose up among the Taiku race. Shadow Emperor is a demon. A demon who destroyed our home and kept hunting us. Fight. Kill. Kill all the bastards. Kill them. Children. Run. Take the children. They are our future. Take them and run. There were more than 100,000 creatures of the Taiku race on this planet, some of whom tried to escape while others stayed and fought. However, when the first spaceship carrying members of the Taiku race was annihilated by UWA-2O's undying power, they all fell into despair. They realized that they couldn't match the undying fighter. Kill. Kill. Fight. Other races on the planet didn't interfere. There were only 6 sector lords within the Taiku race, while there were 100 sector lord warriors in the invading army. And the leader was an undying fighter. Taiku race will be annihilated, thought Luo Feng, observing it all in silence. This kind of thing happened all the time. It was likely happening this very minute somewhere else in the universe. Said Luo Feng. He noticed a silhouette afar. The most shining member of the Taiku race, a mere teenager, had just killed 2 Sector Lord warriors. At the moment, he was temporarily holding his own against 10 Sector Lord warriors. Many beings within the Taiku race were screaming, "Pa-na, run. Pa-na, run now." Apparently, this teenager had a high reputation among his race. He might even be the leader of all the beings of Taiku race living on that planet. "Ha ha. There's Pa-na," said Uwa Tuor. "Shadow Emperor is looking for you." Uwa Tuor duffed toward the teenager. "Run," the teenager ordered. "Yes," the other beings of the Taiku clan said, seizing the chance to flee while Uwa dealt with Pa-na. Uwa seemed not to care about the others. Clearly, he considered Pa-na much more valuable. "Come, Uwa Tuor," said Pa-na. There was madness in his eyes, and a trace of satisfaction. "Me in exchange for tens of thousands of my people. Worth it." "Moran," Uwa sneered. Moshe Luofeng watched it all in silence. It suddenly struck him that the look on that talented teenager's face resembled the faces of Jia, Mo Henderson, Tripothi Singh, Sokolov, and East, who had gone to fight the golden horned beast with him. Despairing but calm. "Time to return," Moshe Luofeng murmured. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Pa-na felt powerless. He couldn't defend himself against Uwa. He knew that he was doomed as the ugly claw of Uwa grabbed him. Suddenly, it started to rain. Raindrops filled the sky. Raindrops. Pa-na was dazed. Then the raindrops all disappeared, and the Sector Lord warriors of the invaders, along with Uwa, all froze. There was a strange sound, pu. And Uwa's godly body suddenly vanished into thin air. The Sector Lord warriors standing afar exploded all at once. Dead? Pa-na looked around in shock. He looked at the bloody remains, the weapons, and the empty armor left by the annihilated Uwa. Jiang. A shadow of a being standing afar put his blade into his sheath. "A blade," said Pa-na. Those raindrops were a blade striking. Pa-na found it hard to believe that this shrouded figure standing afar was only a Sector Lord. How could a Sector Lord kill an undying fighter so easily? Moshe Luofeng turned around and looked at him. He smiled, then disappeared. Memories had flooded Luofeng's mind when he'd seen the look on that teenager's face. He had wanted to help him. To Luofeng, it didn't make a huge difference, as it was simply a change of heart. This planet was the last destination of his tour of the universe, because, half a month before Luofeng arriving there, he had created the third move for his ultimate technique. Time to become undying. After wandering through the universe for 50,000 years, Moshe Luofeng went back to the primal region of the human territory. Within the Thousand Treasures River of the primal region of human territory. When Luofeng stepped back into the human territory, he immediately felt a sense of belonging. He was home. "This is home," he said. His original earthling body, sitting in the palace with his legs crossed, finally got up, walked out of the palace, and started to tour the palaces within the Thousand Treasures River. As he walked among the palaces, Luofeng recalled all the scenes he had witnessed in the universe while wandering. He was shocked by everything that had happened in the past 50,000 years, but it was also clear when he looked back, as if it all followed a set of guidelines. The servants in front of the palace watched Luofeng walk past. "Look, it's Luofeng." It's rare that Luofeng ever walks out of his palace. Some of them only dared to pass messages through their mind, as they didn't have the guts to speak up. After all, they were only servants while Luofeng was the disciple of Primal Chaos City Leader, the master of this space and time. That Luofeng could kill an emperor limit before, but has been MIA for the past 80,000 years. There hasn't been any news about him becoming undying. He could have become undying a long time ago. Why does he stay a Sector Lord for such a long time? To comprehend space law, of course. After all, it's more beneficial to do so when you're a Sector Lord. He must have been acknowledged by space law a long time ago. Becoming undying wouldn't slow him down. Who knows what's in his mind? His peerless talent. Luo Feng walked towards them. Mr. Luo Feng. The servants saluted him, and Luo Feng glanced at them with a smile on his face. He could read the servants' minds after so many experiences in the universe. Apparently, his disappearance for the past 80,000 years had led to some controversies, but Luo Feng still smiled even though he knew they were talking about him. Being able to look through them and comprehend some operation law of the universe pleased him. Although they are undying, they've been servants for billions of years, thought Luo Feng. It has affected their minds. Perhaps they'll never become universe knights. The thought flashed through Luo Feng's mind, and then he kept walking. The scenes he had witnessed during his journey were playing in his mind like films on a screen. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In the main palace of Thousand Treasures River, Primal Chaos City leader sensed that Luo Feng, who had been in seclusion for 80,000 years, had finally walked out of the palace. He saw Luo Feng through all the buildings. He was walking with a smile so natural and authentic that it revealed his tranquil mental state. "Huh," said Primal Chaos City leader, looking startled. His morphing. Primal Chaos City leader could tell that all the experiences and inspirations Luo Feng had cultivated in the past 50,000 years were about to spur his significant transformation, like a scholar who had accumulated a plethora of research and was finally on the brink of an epiphany. Luo Feng was clearly on the brink of something incredible. For the past 50,000 years, he had witnessed and experienced so much that everything manifested the operation law of the universe in Luo Feng's eyes. It's a morphing of the mental state, Primal Chaos City leader realized, gasping in admiration. My disciple is a genius. Asterisk 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 asterisk. For about 5 hours, Luo Feng recalled everything he had witnessed and experienced in the past 50,000 years. He broke into laughter when he recalled how he had saved that teenager of the Taiku race. In the past 5 hours, his mental state had been sharply improved, and his mental state reached an extraordinary level. He didn't need to deliberately strengthen his willpower anymore, as his mental state was tranquil and still as the starry sky. He didn't need to resist the illusion anymore, as the illusion was nothing compared to the wonders of the actual universe. Now, even Chaos City leader couldn't tell directly how Luo Feng had improved his mental state. After fighting for his family and his brothers when he was a teenager, after sacrificing everything to fight the golden horned beast and being resurrected, after the hustle and bustle of the talent battle, after the obsession with life and death inheritance, and finally, after 50,000 years of witnessing the mysteries in the universe, his willpower was already as strong as that of a universe overlord. Perhaps the only ones with willpower stronger than Luo Feng were universe masters. Time's up, realized Luo Feng. It's now time to become undying. Luo Feng was excited, as he thought it was natural and only right that he should become undying now. He walked back to his palace and sat down with his legs crossed. His mental state was like still, deep waters. Within his core, the version of Luo Feng, who had transformed from the origin pearl, opened his eyes. Aggression shot out from Luo Feng's eyes. They were peaceful like the sky and oceans, yet they were as keen as blades, glinting fiercely. Break the shackles, he said. I will become undying. Luo Feng waved his hands. 16,000 pearls floated in the sky, and law engravings were densely dotted on them. The pearls connected with each other immediately, and formed the skeleton of an aggressive, powerful beast god. Star and fire soaring sky, Luo Feng whispered. Crash and burn. Earth shattering. The beast god floating in the sky moved with a madness that showed he was ready and willing to crash and burn. Flames burned on his skin, trembling the core. Luo Feng's willpower, which couldn't be sharpened further, coupled with his beast god conception, having been trained for 80,000 years, infused the beast god with tremendous power. He charged at the inner wall directly, and smashed into it as if he were about to crumble. Crash and burn. Earth shattering. The third move of star map, Star and fire soaring sky, crash and burn and earth shattering. Hong. The inner wall shook, followed by a loud sound. The wall was obliterated. Asterisk 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 asterisk. After 80,000 years, the third move was completed. The first move, literally, hit the light-racing star. The starlight spread all over the universe, was fast and light like constant raindrops. For the second move, splendid like stars, the red light rips the nightfall like a blade. There was only one trick to it, its speed. The key benefit of this move was its speed. It wouldn't attack enemies millions of times like the first move. On the contrary, it made produced one attack. However, it was incredibly fast and powerful. The third move, star and fire soaring sky, crash and burn and earth shattering, was all about power. It was slower than the second move, but it was more than 10 times more powerful than the second move. The second move relied on the tail of the beast god, whereas the third relied on its entire body. It was definitely extremely powerful, and it would make enemies crash and burn. Each successive move was more mysterious and intricate than the previous one. Luo Feng broke the core shackles and immediately turned from the origin pearl connected to the gold law ocean of the land of origin in the universe. Gold law energy arrived at above Luo Feng's palace. Gold power flooded in. Some sector lords would only become ordinary undying fighters, which meant they only needed a small amount of godly power to make their bodies undying. But some powerful sector lords would become emperors the moment they became undying. They needed much more godly power, but the maximum was 100,000 times that of a sector lord. As for Luo Feng, his original earthling body had a life gene level of over 3,000 times, and his original earthling body became 300 million times stronger than sector lords once it became undying. His body was already far more powerful than most universe knights, as universe knights, with a life gene level of 10 times, only possessed strength 100 million times higher than sector lords. Unlimited gold godly power poured in. A godly body 300 million times stronger than that of a sector lord required an incredible amount of undying power. However, though Moshe body didn't require much undying power, Luo Feng's golden horned beast body was 600 million times stronger than a sector lord. Besides, he was over 600 miles long and thus required much more undying power than the original earthling body. But the most outrageous requirement belonged to the Bloody Sea. The Bloody Sea had a diameter of 6 billion miles, and its life gene level was perfect. It was 1 billion times stronger than a sector lord. It required hundreds of millions of times more undying power than the golden horned beast did. A human universe knight's godly body would only need godly power equivalent to a billionth of the Bloody Sea. That was why 9 Remoteness Master was invincible in the universe with his 9 Remoteness Ocean, which could rival the most powerful true treasures in the universe. Asterisk 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 asterisk. It wasn't a big deal when someone became undying. Even when someone became a universe knight, it wasn't that much of a scene. But Luo Feng becoming undying was impressive. It was a spectacle thousands of times greater than True Yang Emperor becoming a universe knight. After all, he surpassed universe knights in terms of quality. As for the quantity of undying power, it was hundreds of millions of times more than human universe knights, all thanks to the Bloody Sea. Onlookers were stunned. What happened? They asked one another. What's going on? Gold origin law arrived. Did someone become undying? But how can becoming undying cause such a scene? Within the Thousand Treasures River, some universe knights and lots of undying servants looked to the sky above Luo Feng's palace in shock. Golden light almost enveloped the entire Thousand Treasures River. They could hardly remember a time when they had seen anything like this. Even some universe knights were thrilled. Becoming a universe knight is nothing compared to this. However, those universe knights and undying servants could only see the surface. Primal Chaos City Leader stood on top of the main palace, leaning against the handrail and looking up at the sky. The gold origin law had completely enfolded Thousand Treasures River. It was inconceivably powerful, already more powerful than when someone became a universe knight. Other great beings couldn't see the mysteries behind this, but Primal Chaos City Leader could see dimly that the undying power was pouring into Thousand Treasures River, which revealed how vigorously Luo Feng was absorbing the undying power. Luo Feng has become undying. Even Primal Chaos City Leader was dazed. He stood there watching, speechless for a long while. The Universe Knights and undying servants within Thousand Treasures River all looked up at the boundless golden light up in the sky. They were all thrilled as they discussed this event. Unlimited Law Ocean is pouring in, and the undying power flows into Luo Feng's body. What a scene! Primal Chaos City Leader looked up, amazed. Even the 108 princes of 9 Remoteness Master won't make such a scene when they become undying. Chaos City Leader had seen so much, and he knew this was the case for some beings with large bodies, but low density. Hence, the remote ocean body at the height of more than 55,000 miles could transform into an ocean with a diameter of 6 billion miles. Although the ocean was significantly larger, they both contained the same amount of energy. Since the water didn't have the same consistency as flesh and blood, the ocean had a comparatively lower density. However, an ocean with a diameter of 6 billion miles still held a godly power that was billions of times greater than human universe knights. I've witnessed the scene of several special life forms becoming undying, said Primal Chaos City Leader. Some of them were tens of millions of miles tall, but the scene was nothing compared to this one. The more impressive the scene was, the more powerful the special life forms were. Does this mean, he wondered, that Luo Feng is stronger than all the special life forms I've known? Chaos City Leader found this impossible to fathom, but it was difficult to argue in the face of the unprecedented power that came from the arrival of universe origin law. Luo Feng. There are some deep secrets behind him, Primal Chaos City Leader whispered. Perhaps he's only revealing a small portion of his power in front of me. He smiled. All intelligent beings would hide their trump card, it was ingrained in them. Fantastic. When Luo Feng becomes a Universe Knight, the scene might be more terrific than many Universe Masters. There's soon to be born a supreme being within human race that can intimidate billions of races in the universe. Primal Chaos City Leader nodded mildly. He didn't know what fate Luo Feng had met with. By all appearances, everything he knew, even his remote ocean body, wouldn't have led to such a scene. After all, the remote ocean body only rivaled one of the 108 princes, who were just mediocre special life forms. Obviously, Luo Feng was hundreds if not thousands of times stronger than he looked. This disciple of mine. Primal Chaos City Leader looked at Luo Feng's palace from afar, and saw Luo Feng sitting there with his legs crossed. The original earthling body had completely become undying. How strong this force is. He smiled. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Inside Luo Feng's palace. Luo Feng sat with his legs crossed. The godly force permeated the palace. Tian Chen Emperor and Ji Hong Emperor were both thrilled. Terrific. The force was stronger than that of ordinary universe knights. Master. Tian Chen Emperor and Ji Hong Emperor, who were both groveling, exchanged eye contact, looking frightened. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Inside the internal world. An ocean of godly power poured in from the hollow, flooding into the bloody sea. The internal world looked like the apocalypse had come. Howl. Golden horned beast floated in the sky among the pouring waters of the godly power ocean, howling with excitement. Ha ha. Fantastic. Fantastic. Luo Feng, dressed in black, stood atop the golden horned beast, looking at the godly power ocean. My original earthling body, golden horned beast body, and Mosha body became undying immediately. Soul imprint merged with the godly power completely, and the godly power is all mine. However, this bloody sea of mine. Luo Feng looked at the bloody sea from afar. Its color was changing. It was originally blood red, but the color appeared to be fading. The density of godly power in the ocean kept getting higher. The limitless waters of the godly power ocean poured down and filled the area. The energy a universe knight requires to recover his godly body costs so much that it's much more costly than a treasure, Luo Feng murmured. My remote ocean's godly power is better in quality than a universe knight's, and it has billions of times more godly power, which means my remote ocean is more precious than billions of treasures combined. Perhaps it's as valuable as a true treasure, even a high-end true treasure. Luo Feng smiled, looking at the remote ocean. With this remote ocean by my side, will there be any universe knights who can make me cower? Luo Feng suddenly understood the source of Nine Remoteness Master's pride. While in the Nine Remoteness Ocean, Nine Remoteness Master wasn't even afraid of Universe Supreme Masters. As for Luo Feng, few Universe Knights could strike him down in his remote ocean. As enormous as the remote ocean was, the Gold Law Ocean from the universe origin was much mightier. After a short while, the entire bloody sea was transformed into a godly power ocean. The water was tumbling in the ocean, and was made up of godly power a billion times stronger than a sector lord's power. Remote ocean, with a diameter of 6 billion miles. Luo Feng looked down at the remote ocean. Creation. Suddenly, a remote ocean body that was more than 5,000 miles tall walked out from the waves. Recover. The larger the body was, the more quickly he absorbed the godly power. A 6-foot human absorbed godly power hundreds of millions of times more slowly than a world tree, 60 million miles tall. This went without saying. Appetite of an ant was nothing compared to a dragon. A dragon would eat more in a single bite than an ant could eat in its entire life. In the same way, a godly body standing 5,000 miles tall would only take the remote ocean a couple of minutes to supply its energies. Dissipate. Gather. Remote ocean body instantly dissipated into water and merged with the ocean. The remote ocean expanded, but only slightly. An outsider probably wouldn't have been able to tell simply by looking at it. It's true that after becoming undying, the remote ocean can expand further, Luo Feng whispered. However, remote ocean can only expand by absorbing godly power gradually. It's so large that it needs a huge amount of godly power to increase its diameter by even a foot. How many years did it take Nine Remoteness Master to expand his ocean? Luo Feng felt fortunate. If he hadn't become undying, and couldn't transform his bodies into godly ones at one time, he would have needed an eternity to supply enough godly power for an ocean with a diameter of more than 6 billion miles. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Inside the palace. Luo Feng smiled and got up. Master, Qian Chen Emperor and Ji Hong Emperor said respectfully. You two, stay here, Luo Feng ordered, then walked out of the palace. Luo Feng teleported himself in front of the palace where Primal Chaos City Leader lived, where some of the undying servants of Universe Knights stood. So powerful. The power. 2 Universe Knights standing afar were terrified, and the undying servants were all trembling. Little did they know that this was only the force coming from the original earthling body, and it would be hundreds of times more extraordinary if it came from the golden horned beast body, or the remote ocean. Luo Feng waited outside the palace. Although the door was open, everything inside was dimming, and he couldn't see things straight. Come in, came a voice from inside the palace. Luo Feng walked into the palace, and saw Primal Chaos City Leader standing in the distance. Luo Feng gave a salutation. Teacher. Primal Chaos City Leader gazed at Luo Feng. Have you become undying? He asked after remaining silent for a long while. Yes, Luo Feng answered. Fantastic. You're doing better than I thought. Primal Chaos City Leader nodded with satisfaction. He was content, happy, and even exhilarated. He nurtured all these disciples, because he wanted to produce more great beings, who could become the future pillars of the human race. Not only did Luo Feng meet his expectations, but he had also surpassed that to a huge extent. Even I can't sense the extent of your power now, Primal Chaos City Leader asked. Do you think you can defeat Zhuchong Emperor? Luo Feng was dazed. He answered, yes, I can. Indeed, he could. Luo Feng's golden horned beast body had a higher life gene level than Zhuchong Emperor. His willpower, self-created techniques, and true treasures were all Zhuchong Emperor's better. Even if he was defeated once, he could be revived time and time again with his remote ocean. He wasn't afraid of anything with his newfound immortality. Fantastic. Fantastic. Primal Chaos City leader nodded. What's your next step? Find an address of the god country and build it, Luo Feng answered. A god country is vital. Primal Chaos City leader nodded. Interlayers of the space are immeasurable. Choose a deeper area. I understand. Luo Feng nodded. Go, Primal Chaos City leader said with a wave of his hands. Luo Feng gave a salutation and left. Primal Chaos City leader wouldn't meddle with Luo Feng's choices given his current power. Luo Feng would be the one to make his decisions from now on. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Luo Feng left the primal region and arrived at the god country of his slaves. Master of my master, where should we go now? The slave of another race grovelled in veneration. Star Tower, Luo Feng whispered. Yes, the slave answered and connected with the keepsake in Star Tower. Luo Feng had left it in the Star Tower before. No need to create the god country first. I can go there later. My remote ocean is better than most universe nights, quality-wise and quantity-wise, it's outrageously large. I'll see whether I can drive the most powerful true treasure, Star Tower. Luo Feng couldn't wait to give it a try. This video will end here.